There we go. Hey guys, welcome back, Thief Information Thief, and welcome to the Thieves. Then having another story time today. Well, more of a discussion. I started thinking a while ago about like crossovers and stuff and collaborations and stuff because I've been with Street Fighter did it with the Ninja Turtles. There's the Mortal Kombat games that have Omni Man, Peacemaker, and like Homelander coming through. And speaking of, I'm gonna watch Peacemaker sometime this week if I can, because I'm pretty sure we have it on the site. And Black Friday, I'm gonna try to see if I can get a PS5. I don't know if they're gonna be on sale, probably not, but just in case, I'm gonna. Worst case, I can do payment plans. Like I have the credit for it, so I'm good. But what was I saying? Oop. It was the it's the idea of the collaboration stuff that I just really enjoy, which is why I'm just like, oh yeah, okay, that's fine. But like every time I think about it, it's just one of them things of like there's so many interesting things we could have gotten. What is all this? Hmm. What's going on? Okay, as long as it's actually moving, that's a good thing. Sorry about that. But again, the reason I like stuff like that, where it's like it's so interesting, because it's like if especially if it's two franchises you really like when Marvel and DC crossed over, I was like, oh, that's so cool. Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. Yeah, the game wasn't that well received because it wasn't awesome, but I like that one too. And like little things like that, Batman and Ninja Turtles, Spawn, and like so on and so forth. It's like it's always cool, and it can be something stupid too. It'll be like, oh, the Predator and like Batman, which was a real thing, or there was Ash versus Jason versus Freddy versus the Evil Dead, or something like that, which was it was a comic thing, and that's a cool, they're really cool concepts because that shit is crazy. Like that's some stuff that'll make people be like, "Holy shit! Did y'all see that? That's crazy!" Like I got like Godzilla versus Kong, like that gets people hyped. Sorry, I'm drinking water and twisted tea, but I find it very fascinating to think about, specifically because that's not something you would typically notice or think about. And like that's some stuff where it's like, oh yeah, no, that's really really cool, and it's like it really is. But pause. Let me get a drink. But sometimes the execution isn't always great, and sometimes it's not even a crossover of brand so much as a crossover of characters, like Batman v Superman. They don't always work together. If they do, it's usually its own thing, or it's like or be a part of the Justice League. But you never really see them interact outside of that. But sometimes you do, and it's nice. Like I still really enjoy the story where Batman, Superman, Catwoman, and Lois Lane, they had like a little double date, and it was it's a small story, no big crimes or nothing, just two friends hanging out, and you get to see their perspective with each other. When both of them go like, "How come y'all don't talk more? How come y'all don't hang out?" And then they both just think like, it's they're both super like they're both nervous to approach each other because they're like, no, he's way too busy. Like it's a waste of his time. I don't think he would want to address me. But same thing with Superman, and same thing with Batman. Like you see their perspective, and then at some point they meet in the middle. He's like, why didn't we? How didn't we see you guys? And he just looks at him and goes like, y'all took the stairs or y'all took the elevator. It's like, dude, you can fly. Which again, little things like that, I'm like, that's hilarious. But I don't know. Comics are always weird. I think for the sake of drama, they just break people up after a while. Batman was gonna marry Catwoman till he wasn't. Like Nightwing was gonna marry Starfire till he wasn't. Spider Man was gonna marry Mary Jane till he wasn't. They keep doing that sometimes, and it's really, really. I mean, I can see why people are frustrated, but it's just really, really, really weird. But then again, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's actually something that you didn't think about. It's like I didn't think this would be that good, but it turns out it really is. Like I really enjoyed. Which one was it? it was a comic specifically that was just about like Spider-Man and Deadpool, because like they have everyone says they have like a huge bromance, or it's kind of like yeah, I can see that. Like if Spider-Man ever does go gay, it'll probably be for Deadpool, and I'm like, yeah, I could totally just see him doing stuff like that, and it's really really like interesting. Ooh, but then they also got some like the Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I thought it was interesting because when you see them in Injustice, they already know who Batman is and everything, to the point where Batman's even training them to an extent. And I'm like, yeah, that's really really cool. And then it'll be stuff like, oh wow, like turns out no, when they first started attacking him, he just disarms all of them and ends up in a fight against Master Splinter, and they like hit a draw to the point. And then at that point, everyone's like they look up to Batman. They think he's like the coolest guy ever. And I'm like, that's such a cool thing because you forget they're teenagers sometimes, and they're just kind of like, whoa, radical, and all that stuff with that old school language they be using. The fact that they unironically say that stuff too is just great. Like they don't say it as a joke. It's like that's just genuinely how they talk. It's just amazing. Like I'm gonna be real, if I see the Ninja Turtles doing modern day slang, that would throw me off so bad. Like if they just start saying like lit and all this other stuff, like I get it. You keep with the times, you know. If you're trying to make them relate to other kids, it's just like I don't necessarily think it's a relatability thing. I think it's one of the things of like if you see someone speaking in a way that is similar to you, it makes you more comfortable, or like it eases the tension, it makes you feel less threatened. But at the same time, it also comes off as forced if it's not the typical thing. Like you meet someone that speaks a different language, you try to speak their language, so it's like okay, this is something that's familiar to me. It makes me more comfortable. But if it's a book, if you're speaking a broken version of it, it might sound like it sounds like you're trying, but if you do it for no reason, and it's like, look, man, we can both talk in your language. It's like, no, no, I'm gonna speak to you in your language, make you feel comfortable. But then you're just doing it for no reason when you don't have to. Yeah, then it kind of comes off a bit as forced. But I don't know. I always see that clip where it's like, how do you do, fellow kids? And it's kind of just like, look, I don't need them to be talking about. Although to be fair, I could totally see the TMNT guys being on TikTok, or at least Michelangelo. And that's the thing. It's just like just seeing how they interact with each other. Because again, Batman's usually super serious and everything, but he does occasionally like ease up a little bit. But then you get to see them talk and interact with other people, like just his rogues gallery too. Because it'll be like, okay, you got people like the Joker. He's insane. He's scary. He's crazy. Then you got people like Clayface and all this other stuff. And then for Two Face and like all these other people. Poison Ivy. Then for the Ninja Turtles, you got like Shredder, you got like Bebop and Rocksteady, Professor Stockman or Baxter Stockman, sorry, the Foot Clan, and like all these other like crazy aliens and everything. Like they, and again, it's one of those things that like seeing how they just interact with each other is awesome because it's just like because it sounds how's the best way I can describe this? It sounds like pretty much like fan fiction. Like there was one where the Predator goes after like Archie from Archie comics, and I think like it's like Veronica, what's the name? Veronica and Betty, the blonde girl and the brunette, end up having to like kill the Predator because the Predator killed Archie. Like, granted, it's like a random one-off or something, but the fact that it happened at all is hilarious. Because I think the Punisher was in one of those comics, and like a few other like they've crossed over with a few things. And again, usually it's because they're written works. It's not that big of a deal. But when it's a movie where multiple people from multiple fandoms can come see it, it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna watch this. And it's a fun thing to think about because it's just like, well, I'm taking a drink because it's just like, especially if you're a fan of both. Like I said, it's like this is something I like. This is also something I like. It comes together. It's like eating a meal and then you get dessert afterwards. Two things you like, or it's like a combination treat actually, like a strawberry banana milkshake. You like strawberries, you like bananas, mix it together, boom. And sometimes they, throw on whipped cream and everything, cherries, like just like touch it up a little bit, dress it, make it look nice. Yeah, it sounds really weird the way I say it like that, but you know what I'm talking about. Like it's food. Mm. Okay, got it. And the reason I say stuff like this too is because it's the same thing whenever I see my friends make artwork or when they're drawing and talking and like just having a time. Because it's like, it's something I enjoy. It's fun to me. Like I see them draw and they're like, hey, I have this character, you have that character, let's draw them together. It's like, yeah, I like that idea. And they're like, well, what should we have them do? It's like, well, and then you get to go like, okay, well, let's look up their stories or their backstories or their lore. And it's like, what do we want to do with any of them? And they'll be like, and I did it to my friends all the time because they'll be like, hey, like, I want to get a piece of artwork and I want to get my friends involved. I'm like, okay, well, what's your character about? And they're like, oh, well, they're like this person, that person. They have this personality type, that personality type. They do this, and this. Okay, well, what do they do? Well, they do that, and that. And it's like, okay, you can like, I can see you start painting pictures in your head or like little scenarios. They can meet up like this. They could be doing this, that, and the other. Like they ask me that sometimes because they'd be like, okay, well, what about I have this one character and I want to get an artwork with your character. I'm like, well, I already know what my character's like. What about your character? He's like, and then we just like throw little scenarios together. Like, okay, like this one. This one very specifically was because I'm not gonna say he's an old character. I still have him, but this is the character on the left is Colas. He is a Grim Reaper. Don't ask. It's an old story idea I was working on a while ago. I kind of abandoned it, sort of, but I did workshop some of the ideas into some other stories I'm doing. But the idea was, yeah, he's a chill person. I can see him like hanging out with some random blonde lady playing cards, and she's like, "Well, yeah, this is my random blonde lady." It's like, "Oh, I bet." She drew it, and I'm like, "Okay, that's not bad." I don't ever really have pictures of my people playing cards, so it's a nice little thing. Like it's the artwork is. I think it's a fill-in sometimes for a story idea because, like, I think when it comes to artwork, is like you can write a character draft, you can write up a character story, and you can write out their adventures. But sometimes artwork on the side that's not specifically tailored towards those stories can fill in some blanks here and there. Like, yeah, you could just be like, "Oh, this is just my character going to the beach," like, and this is them in their beach world. You could be like, "Oh, well, this is just like random fans that we see them in a bikini or whatnot." It's like, okay, fair enough. But at the same time, you could be like, "Would they go to the beach?" Yes. Would they like the beach? Yes. Now you have a new character trait added. Boom, boom, boom. They like going to the beach. Now you can also like add some other stuff in, like, okay, but only if it's not crowded, if it's real sunny, and she's sipping margaritas. It's like easy enough. Boom. More character traits. Like little things like this here and there, it fills in like the blanks that you don't really get to see with other things. Like for instance, there's some stuff randomly we just see Peter Parker from like when he's not being Spider-Man just eating pizza. He likes pizza. He's from New York. It's like it's kind of a given. It's like okay, fair enough. Even in like the video games, sometimes the pizza will be help pickups, or sometimes you just see him eating them. Like I think it's Insomniac Spider-Man from the first game in the DLC calls up a pizza, picks it up, and just like you just see him sitting there chilling with his mask, like not even off, just raised up, and he's just eating the pizza. And I'm saying that like it's a little. There was no reason to add that, but they did, and now you just know a little bit more about him here and there. And that's what I like about artwork. Sometimes it can, especially if it's official artwork from like a video game or something like that, where it's like, well, you just see them just doing something that's not the typical stuff. It helps you learn more about them, and to I guess to an extent you can relate to them about it too. Mm. But I like talking to my friends about this stuff because I like making stuff. And hearing them show me their stories, I can read or some of their lore. It's like, okay, this person is the way they are for a very specific set of reasons. And I'm not saying I'm spoiling it because I'm not going to spoil it. They put their stuff up on Wattpad like everybody else. Well, I guess there's also fanfiction.net, but even then, I don't know why I still look those up sometimes. Maybe because I'm starved for content. Like I don't know what it is. Like sometimes I'll watch a show, and when the show's over, and I I know there's no follow up, especially if it's an older show. I'm like, there's no remake, there's no reboot, there's no continuation, there's no new seasons. Like it's just done. Like was it High School of the Dead, Semi Champloo, like stuff that I know doesn't have anything else going on, especially if there's no mangas or anything coming out that I can look into later on. It's like, okay, well, that's not there anymore. There's not like, and again, sometimes the stories are usually not that good. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you because these aren't professional writers. These are fans, and not all fans are gonna come up with great works. It's fair. It's just kind of how it goes. And I'm like, all right, fair enough. Some of them have been really enjoyable though, but then some of them are just kind of like really plain. Like they're very straight and to the point. Like this is what you're reading. It happened like this. Boom, story over. And the story would be like a 2 minute read. It's like, well, that was kind of lame, but all right. But I think it's good practice because over time the stories will get better. It'll get more in depth, and there's more things going with it. And it's fun that way. Mm, delicious. Also, if any of you have seen my Star Wars string recently, that is my Sith Lord. They drew a chibi version of him, and I was kind of just like, I'm keeping this, and y'all can't say I'm not. It's mine now. Mm. I'm actually really glad my ceiling fan got fixed because my old ceiling fan it would work, but it would never really circulate fast enough to blow air, so it would always look like it was had like a dying battery or something, and it never cooled down my room. And I used to get so mad about that. Like I have a fan in here, like an AC blower and everything, but it's not the same, especially when it gets really hot sometimes, because that it doesn't because the air doesn't circulate, so it's just kind of like pushing in one specific direction. Ooh, another thing and again, I like seeing like crossovers and collaborations in video games. Like I said, it's a guilty pleasure, but obviously Mortal Kombat versus DC knows. Even Dragon Ball Z and Naruto have done that before. It's like, hey, here's Naruto in this Goku costume who does a Kamehameha Rasengan. And here's Goku in Battle of Z wearing like Naruto's Toad Sage outfit, which looks awesome on him. I wish they would do that. Like, because again, think about it. We got Budokai Tenkaichi 4 coming out. We got fighters. You mean to tell me at some point it never occurred to any of them? Like, hey, we can throw in some more Dragon Ball Z outfits. Here's like, well, I'm not gonna say like Kid Chi Chi's outfit or something. I'll be like, yeah, here's like Bulma's outfit from the movies. We'll put it on like, actually, yeah, the build would be different. I would say, put it on a blue-haired lady like Fu or something. Or, but if it's gonna be a main character, you could probably try. No, because maybe Sakura. No, no. See, from the bowling, I would say from the bowling movie that would look weird, but from the actually, no, because you could just do any of her outfits. The Bowman has a lot. I said Bowman. Bowman has a lot of different styles, so that could work. And then like Dragon Ball Z, yeah, you could do like the orange thing for Goku again. Give him like Naruto's orangish outfit, or even his Hokage outfit. Actually, you can give that to Goku. Sasuke, you can put on Vegeta, kind of fits there. I would say now this is an interesting one for Rock Lee. I would say put it on like Tien or Krillin. I think that'd be interesting to see. Ooh. See, now this is fun. This is fun. I get to make things up. But let me think. Another one, Marvel vs. Capcom, classic game fighting series, really fun. And again, just little things like that. Because like again, you could just be like, okay, this is this character fighting this character, and that would be all you had to do. And it's like, okay, well, let me keep it going. Sorry. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. And again, the slideshow is just here as an aesthetic thing. So you're not just looking at the same photo, the same random thing over and over again. It's like you get some variety to your senses while I'm over here mulling over nonsense. Well, I don't know. It's a fun discussion topic for me. Maybe not for everyone, which, fair enough, right? And yet, it's like again, it's always stuff like this where it's like, okay, if I get work with my friends, that's one thing. If I help them come up with the story ideas, that's another thing. But when I play video games like that, see my favorite characters from multiple genres. Like again, never played Street Fighter until 6. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. So again, I didn't really know any of the characters like that. I knew the backstories more to an extent because I've just looked up stuff. Because one, I had to find the franchise I want to learn some stuff sometimes. I still need to look at King of Fighters lore. But like, okay, you can have Wolverine go up against like Ryu. You can have Morgan go up against like Iron Man. Chun Li can go fight like Ghost Rider. And then not only do they fight, but they have their little victory quotes afterwards, which some of them are specifically tailor made for the people they talk to. Now, granted, they'll probably never hold these conversations in their life because they are from two completely different worlds. But the fact that they even threw them in there at all is amazing. Like, I never thought I would see, like, I was going to say Hayabusa, but that's from Ninja Gaiden. Well, actually, no. It's a guy from the Strider series. It's like Strider something. I forgot his name. Him and Wolverine have an interesting dialogue. Ryu and them do too. And if I remember correctly, yeah, Ryu has some with Iron Fist too. And then you have people like Doctor Doom. I think he had some stuff with Chun Li. Morgan had stuff with Ghost Rider, which is still interesting because I don't know what it is, but I think it was Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. They made her very, I don't know, but in a good way. I still find it funny though. She looks at her, she's like, you have this inner thing about you, a fire," and I'm like, "It's Ghost Rider. He's made of fire. His whole body is fire. His skull is fire. Like, what the hell does that even mean?" But it's just like the funniest thing when she says that. And I'm like, I get what she's saying, but with the context of what we are looking at, I was like, you're trying to seduce a skeleton made of fire. I mean, technically he's also made of bone because he's a skeleton, but y'all know what I'm talking about. He's all hellfire, which is hilarious. That's like the one thing that bothers me about that picture I have right there for my Street Fighter 6 character is like they didn't get they didn't get the face right. That's what not his face, but his head. They didn't put the little hair up there. I waited a long time for that drawing, and I'm really appreciative that they did that. Like I really am. But at the same time, I'm just sitting there like, don't get me wrong, he looks sick as hell with the all black look. He looks sexy. But I'm just like the fact that he doesn't have the white up top is really throwing me for a loop. Because again, it's just how he looks in the game. But again, don't get me wrong. I don't mean to be ungrateful. Because again, well, this is him. They also drew him as a Sonic character, which is why I'm kind of just like, all right, that looks sick. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, little Miss Lulu Han. That is amazing. Plus, I always tell people too, if I have them draw characters, sometimes I just want them to focus on the eyes, because eyes are gateways to the soul. I always want the eyes to stand out the most. If the if it's a body work and the body's the focus, I'm like, okay, fine. But if I can, I'll be like, make them as nice as possible. Draw the most attention to the eyes. That you want that aesthetic. I'm over here talking about eyes now. But yeah, the like games like that I always find funny too. There's even if I remember I can't remember specifically, it's like a Final Fantasy game crossed that crossed over with like Pokemon. It was like Final Fantasy Tactics. No, it was Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem, I think, had a crossover with Pokemon, which was an interesting thing. I really wanted to try it at some point because it sounds like it'd be really cool. Also, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. Final Fantasy Tactics, and I think like Fire Emblem Awakening, or the one that was on the Game Boy or the DS. Not the one where it's all sprite work, not the 3D models. That stuff is stressful. I have never reloaded a game so many times because I got someone killed. I have done that so like I got like because it's permadeath. You could die from anything. Like one of the ones that stressed me out the most was you have to get specifically if you want to recruit this character who's like a pirate of sorts. You have to not only get to him but take out the enemies around it because now they're trying to kill him, and if he comes near you, he'll attack you on sight. Even you have to bring a nun to him or a priestess, and she has to convince him like, "Hey, join our group. We're fighting for good." And he's like, "I don't know. I fight for money." And she's just like, please. And he kind of looks at her and goes like, well, damn, she kind of fine. So then he like joins the team and everything. And that's kind of how that goes. The problem with that is she's a healer, so she doesn't attack. She has no armor, so if she gets hit, she'll just die. And if I can't reach him on my turn, he can reach me. And when he does, he will run up to me, hit me one time with a combo. He might even get a crit and really fuck me over. And then she just dies. And I can't do anything about that because you can't revive anyone. And the reason I say that's a problem is because you can pair off certain characters, and then they'll even have like a time skip later on in the future, right? Where these characters will have kids, and then you play as the kids, which is a really really cool feature. I actually thoroughly enjoy stuff like that. But again, same thing with Final Fantasy Tactics, because that one specifically that pissed me off. It wasn't the second game because I played the first. I was playing the first. It's because they have specific rules I don't understand. It's like, okay, don't attack with like swords, or if you do, you get a flag. If you get 2 or 3 flags, you go to jail, and you have to buy them out of jail later, or they just don't ever get out apparently. But what threw me off about that was I can't just change my equipment. All of these are swords. I never picked up a mace. I couldn't find a mace. It's like, well, don't use any blades. All I have is blades. I don't have magic. It's like, well, don't. Well, you better figure something out. It's like, well, god damn it! Now I gotta figure some shit out because that could really cripple your whole team if your team was ran a certain way. And then like afterwards, it's just like, well, hell, what am I supposed to do? It's like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I really, really don't. And it's just like, well, shit. But at the same time, it's kind of funny to think about because it's just one of them things where like you never know. But one thing I will say is like from what I've learned about like adaptability when it comes to certain games is games are going to be frustrating. They're going to be very difficult. Sometimes they might even be unfair or heavily stacked against you. You will get mad. You will get frustrated, especially if it's a game you have to backtrack a lot. I am guilty of that. If you've ever seen me play that one Saints Row 1 mission where you have to take out the canales in the plane, and I every time I died and lost, I had to go all the way back because they didn't have you couldn't reload the checkpoint. Because the checkpoint was the very start of the mission, which means I had to drive to the airport every fucking time. Or when I played God of War on the hardest or the second to hardest difficulty, to where I kept getting one shot by Ares, or I couldn't save Kratos' family over and over again. That boss fight took me way longer than it should have. But at the same time, once I won, that euphoric feeling of finally overcoming something is amazing. Not to mention the fact that you can basically be like, yeah, fuck you, I won. Yeah, I'm great. But again, like it patience. That is the first thing to learn. And the first thing to exercise. And I don't know, it's always something interesting to think about. But back to what we were talking about. Collaborative ideas and stories and things like that. I always tell my friends because I like write. Because sometimes when I want to write stories too, I'll write stories involving their characters that they come up with, and some of the characters that I have, or vice versa. I'll be like, "Hey, I want to, or I want to help, or I want to write a story regarding your characters or whatnot," and they'll be like, "Okay, well, tell me about them." They'll be like, "This is their lore. These are their likes. These are their dislikes. These are their personalities," and I'm like, "Okay, let me see what I can do." And I always like I'll screenshot, I'll hold on to it. I always keep that very specific description they gave me in mind as like a not as a placeholder, but also don't ask why they're in their underwear. I didn't they didn't he didn't have an alternate costume, so I was like, you know what, we'll just run with it. It's fine. And then but the idea was like, okay, I want to stay as close to the like I guess you could say lore as possible, so I'm not writing them as a character. And then every now and again, I'll release a chapter. I'll release another one. And before I completely release a story chapter, I'll be like, okay, here you go. I want you to read this. Tell me if it's any good, and make sure I got your character on point. And usually they'll be like, yeah, no, you got them down. This is just like how I pictured them. I'm like, okay, good, because I want to keep it consistent with their lore because they came up with it, so I'm going to respect it. Because again, stuff like fan fiction, for instance, you can write someone out of character and it's fine. But again, I don't really like having the. You don't have to always commit to one specific thing when it comes to like writing stories, right? Which that's fine. But if you want to write them as close as possible, you have to bear in mind they have to be written that way. Mm. You want to write them outside of that, that is also fine. But again, if you're asking for permission to write someone's stuff, and they give you the details, if they think something's not right, you should change it. If you don't want to, and you're just like, look, I wrote them this way. I want you to respect that I wrote them this way, and go from there. It's like because sometimes it might be a better idea to change something about the character that maybe they didn't think of. True, but it's a give and pull system because it really just depends on what you're doing. Now, if it's a character that your friend just made, it's not a big deal. Now, it's trickier when it's an established character who's already famous, or not famous, but at least well known enough. They have their own lore, they have their own backstories, and so on and so forth, right? Now it becomes a bit of a conundrum because now it's not just oh I'm writing my own thing. It's like no. You're writing somebody who already has. You're writing like or trying to write new things of somebody who already has a history. And okay, fair enough. But at the same time, it's like if you're putting your own little spin on it, then okay, cool. But because again, usually fan fiction stuff is the same way. I never knew there was one for Mortal Kombat characters going to high school. I did ask them serious. There was one where all the Mortal Kombat characters, for some reason, go to high school, and I think Raiden is the bus driver or the teacher or something, so he has to like chaperone everybody. It's really stupid, but also it's just kind of like, yeah, a lot of them are gonna act out of character, but it's okay. There was one where some guy, I'm assuming it's his OC, self-insert, whatever it is, ends up marrying Melina, and then at one point, like I think Kitana says something, and he like bitch slaps her. Oh no, she gets smacked by her mother, Sindel, and she's like, mother, she's like, you will respect your sister, da da da. And then at one point he threatens, like the guy goes up to him, and goes like, look, I don't care if your boyfriend is Liu Kang, like you're not gonna do that. Like you disrespect her again, we gonna fight. And in my mind, I'm just sitting there like, first of all, even in the context of the story, you actively said your character isn't a fighter like that. Like he knows some stuff, but he's not like, you know, the Mortal Kombat level of fighting. I was like, I appreciate it. You're trying to stick up for your lady in this story, but let's be real, Kitana would beat the shit out of you. Like she don't hit you with, she don't hit you one time in the jaw. It's gonna go into an X-ray on your skull, and then you're just gonna die. It's like chill out. You're basically the equivalent of like Father in like one of those challenges where you just have to beat up these random no-name individuals that just says assassin or something. But again, it's little things like that where it's like it's always funny to see people put their own little spin on stuff. Some of the stories are actually really fun. And it would be little things like that where it's like I think that's the key thing with it. They're fun. Are they informative? Not always. Are they suspenseful? Depends on the story. Are they like are they fun? Yes. Are they engaging? Yes. And I think that's a good thing to be. It's like if you can read a story, enjoy the characters, enjoy the story itself, and just say like, yeah, that's a fun little read. There you go. Does it have to hook you, captivate you, make you rethink your entire life experience? No. Does it have to lecture you or preach to you or tell you something about how this, that, and the other is? No. Does it need to make you think? Yes and no. Like some stories you can just turn your brain off and read or look at or tell, and it's like, you know, it is what it is with that. Sometimes sometimes, because again, you always want to feed your mind more knowledge. Sometimes you can look at something and be like, I never thought of it that way, and then you can actually like picture in your head, especially if a story is really describing something well and everything, you can like picture what they're saying. The very room around which they speak or the word around them becomes visible in your mind. Like you're painting the picture as they're weaving it in front of you with their words. And it's like, okay, I feel like I'm actually here in this like very open area with this beautiful scenery around us, or this tense, spooky atmosphere, or this grungy, grimy, disgusting looking thing. It's like, yeah, that's fun. Mm. I still find it funny though, because every now and again my friends will message me about stuff, and they're just kind of like, "Oh, look, man, for this part of the story, I kind of wrote a sex scene." He's like, "I don't know how else to describe it, so like I'm just letting you know in advance." And the first thing I immediately thought was, "Dude, you know romance novels are a thing, right? So are smut books and like a whole bunch of other stuff. Like that is not like taboo. That is a very specific genre of writing that people tend to do. Like you're good. Like I'm not gonna read this and go eat. Like let's be real. People who read stuff like that, to an extent, at least know or have been with someone of the same or opposite sex for sex at some point. And if they haven't, then they're just fans and decides that they know what the fuck they're buying. Like, let's be real. What they're gonna read. Like, because sometimes people will put that in the stories, like warning in advance. There's some like NSFW scenes, or there's some form. Because again, it's the same thing as like the little warning stickers when you buy a movie. It's like, yeah, this is rated M or rated T for teen, M for mature. There's suggestive themes, alcohol, possible drug abuse, language, and it's just kind of like we know what we're getting when we see it, unless it's super fucking misleading. Like if you see something that's cutesy animal, and it's like, look at all these adorable little farm animals on the front. And then you read the book, and it's like the most horrifying, like crazy, like serial killer story that's like super descriptive and like gut wrenching. It's like, okay, wasn't ready for that one. Yeah, let's take a step back with that one, and I need to go wash off. I feel dirty. It's like things like that. It's like that's perfectly fine. But again, it's good to let people know in advance, and I appreciate that he does that for me. Because when he writes stuff and I'll read through it every now and again, he'll be like, what did you think? And I don't want to just, again, I'm not a professional critic. I'm not. I could be like, I can read it and be like, okay, I like this part, I like that part. I think you should work a bit more on describing the area, or I could be like, okay, you just introduced this character, sort of. What are their motives for this? What are they into? What are they like? Like where do they stand here, or are they just here as a placeholder? You know, little things like that. It's like, okay, fair enough. And it's always something to think about where it's like, okay, like, oh, how else to say this? Okay, I've talked about collaborations and stories and stuff like that, but there is a kind we didn't discuss yet: music, because that's always fun too. You get one artist you like, you get another artist you like, ooh, and then when they come together, it's like peanut butter and jelly, just mixes sometimes. It's so good. And growing up, there were so many songs I could think of where I would just listen to, and sometimes they even had music videos, and those were so good. Like there was T Pain, I think Lil Wayne, which was "Can't Believe It." There was Carrie Hilson and Lil Wayne, which is "Turning Me On." There was Easter Dean, Chris Brown, "Drop It Low." That's a good one. There was like, what was it? The Isley Brothers, which was "Contagious." What would you do? Showdown, but that one never had video, of course. There was Same Girl, and apparently there was another remix later on that had T Pain in it, which I was like, okay, I'm not gonna say it's as good as the original, but it was still fun. There was Rockstar, which I think had Ludacris and R. Kelly, if I remember correctly. There was what was the other one? Ooh, Kiss Kiss. That was a good one. And not just that one. There was what was it? I want to say "Excuse Me, Miss," because that one was I think was it Bow. It was like Lil Bow Wow and I think Chris Brown back in the day when they was younger. Oh, "Ain't Thinking About You" was a fun song. I like that one too. Let's see. And then there was actually funny thing is too. I would say yeah, because there's a "Knock Me Down." That that one because that one was Carrie Hilson, Kanye, and Neo. And then there's been a few. There's "Run This Town." And and yes, I do say those are collaborations because it's not a remix. Those are the same. Those are two artists specifically being in the song. Now you could be like, oh well, it's just them featuring or something. It's like they're in the song. That's them pulling their talent together to form something. I mean, shit, rappers do it all the time. Like it's kind of like it's a thing. Like let's not act like it isn't. Ooh, what's another one? I'm trying to think about it. Perfect Duet. I think that one was Ed Sheeran and Beyonce. That one was fun. Oh yeah, that was another thing too going up here because I know Beyonce had a few people, not just like when she was part of Destiny's Child. I mean just like in general. Mm. Oh, see, those are good ones. Now the question is, do we count musicals as a collaboration? I would say yes, because sometimes they sing duets, and also it's a group of people pulling their talents together for this very specific thing. Not just for like acting, but specifically for like music. Because again, Sweeney Todd, Deep and Barbara Fleet Street has multiple pieces where people sing together. Nothing's gonna harm you, not one. Demons will charm you with a smile. Oh yeah, and there's a pretty woman. Um, Still Joanna. Yeah, that's that one. Have a little priest. Ooh, that's a good one. And then the final song, which is like, Mr. Time, oh Mr. Time, leave it to me. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then there's Grease. That's a good one. Hmm. I never saw Pretty Women, so I don't know. Little Shop of Horrors. That's a good one. I don't know if it counts as a. Well, actually, no, it still does. I would say it counts as a collaboration if you get like a famous rock star playing instrumental, like when they get like Slash to play stuff and stuff because he's that goddamn good. It's like I would argue yes, that counts. Hmm. But yeah, if you guys can think of any good collaborations between people that maybe I just haven't mentioned yet, I would like to know, especially in the comments, if you can think of some. Because it's fun to think about. And you could also be like, okay, or a collaboration of food ideas, for instance. Because I brought it up earlier, peanut butter and jelly. You could be like, oh yeah, if you get like shrimp and this, and this, you can make like shrimp scampi. That's a collaboration of like seafood and pasta. But you can also make the argument that these are just ingredients necessary to make a dish. But it's like, okay, well, what if you get one specific food, like not just a food item, but like a meal itself, mix it in with another meal, boom. Like I think that might count. You know, like you go to McDonald's, you get a McDouble, and then you get like a spicy chicken like sandwich or McSpicy. Put it together, then you get then you get like the McGangbang or the McLovin as they are calling it now because censorship. That's funny to think about. Ooh, what would be some really interesting collaborations? Like I would love to see because you probably never get to see this. But I would love to see a collaboration of like big name properties. And I'm not talking about like, oh, here's Spider Man with the other Spider Man. It's like, no. I want to see like Lord of the Rings, for instance, and Star Wars, because those are two of the biggest franchises ever. And the fact they never had a collaborative crossover is, it makes sense, obviously, but that shit would be hilarious. Like, imagine you see Sauron fighting Darth Vader in like a one-on-one fight, and it's just like, does it make sense? No. Is it going to like make money? Yes. Just because of the sheer absurdity, because you already know the massive fandoms those two properties hold, they would go just to see who would win. And then whichever side won, it'd be like, yeah, I knew it. Whichever side lost would be like, well, okay, first of all, you're not taking into defeats here because they are actually way stronger than they were showed off in the thing. Da, da. And it's one of those things of like, it's always funny to watch fandoms fight over stuff like that because you never really see it. Like, what was it with Death Battle, for instance? Like, I love watching this stuff because it's really engaging at times. I stop taking it seriously when they say it's like, oh yeah, like this is a fair fight that could go either way. It's like, no, it isn't. Let's be 100% honest. Some of these fights, no. Like Johnny Cage against Captain Falcon, I was like, I don't know about that one. Stuff like Solid Snake versus like Sam Fisher. Okay, that's close enough. That makes sense. Lucy versus Carnage. I don't know about that one because Carnage is really tricky to kill, but then again, I've seen Elfen Lied. I know who Carnage is. I was like, I'm curious to see how this would look. Especially because, you can't really see Lucy's like, I think they're called Vespers, with the little like tentacle arms go through. But then sometimes it'll be like, okay, this is like Bowser versus like Ganondorf, or it'll be like Vader versus Doctor Doom. And some of them are just kind of like, I get it, like it's gonna be hella entertaining to watch, but at the same time, it's like you cannot convince me these are fair and balanced things. Ryu versus Jin, I was like, okay, I see what you're talking about. Scorpion versus Ryu, I don't know about that one because I don't think Ryu can. I don't even know if Ryu can kill Scorpion because again, it's called a death battle. It's not that he doesn't have the ability to kill, because he more than likely does, considering how strong he is. But it's like, I don't know if he can kill Scorpion though, because Scorpion is technically a wraith or a revenant. So even if he did die, he would just go back to the Nether realm, come back anyways. It's like, I don't know how long his recovery time is. Like, I don't know how long it takes him to respawn. But but who knows? Maybe it's like, maybe that's not how it works in like Mortal Kombat. Who's to say, really? But then it would be stuff like, one of them was like Princess Peach versus Zelda. And the funny thing is, the ones they made so early on, it's kind of like, okay, that was really cool to watch. But then they try to remake some of them. Sometimes it's like, it'll be like, we have an old fight, but we got new things. Like they did Sonic versus Mario, Sonic One in the first one. So it's like, okay, cool. They tried doing it again, and the second they were like, oh, it's a same fighters, new rules or whatnot, new power ups or whatnot. And the first thing I thought was, okay, so Mario's gonna win. Like they wouldn't remake a fight like that specifically unless they were just gonna be like, oh yeah, no, someone else is winning this time. Because if they remade it, just like, no, Sonic still wins because reasons. It's like, okay, well, that was a waste of time. Like it's the same thing when they did the Goku versus Superman, the second one, because it was like, oh yeah, Goku has Super Saiyan God now, and Super Saiyan Blue. I was like, first of all, those only came out in the movies. We don't technically know how like official strong they are or what their limits are because yeah, he fought Beerus, but again, even then they said Beerus used like 80% of his power. We don't know if because again, apparently that's not the case anymore because Beerus is actually way stronger now. Because of course he is. So it's like, okay, well, how strong is he actually? Nobody really knows yet. Super Saiyan Blue, that was for the movie. He fought Golden Frieza. We don't know where Golden Frieza's power lies on the scaling yet. We just know is that he's technically stronger than he was when he fought at Battle of Gods. Is that still on par with Superman? We don't know. But now that they're doing it a third time, it's like, okay, so we're going to get up to the manga, right? Which means we're going to get Mastered Ultra Instinct, Regular Ultra Instinct, which is Sign or Omen, Then we might even get True Ultra Instinct, and we'll also get like the Ultra Instinct fucking Susanoo thing that Goku has, because apparently that's a thing he can do now. Which is funny because apparently Superman can also do that. I never knew that, but that shit is hilarious. I was gonna watch Lois and Clark for a while, but everyone kept spoiling stuff for me. And then they were like, "Oh man, Lois is terrible. She's the new Amber." And I was like, "Da da da." People just kept talking about it. I'm like, you know what? I'll wait till the series is over, then I'll look into it, see if I actually like it or not. But you know, we'll check that at some point. But again, little this is the little stuff I always look into. When I'm like, sorry, I just realized I was rambling. My fault. But hmm, really fun collaborations I've seen are usually from fighting games I've played, like Soul Calibur. They brought in Darth Vader, Yoda, The Apprentice, Link, Spawn, Heihachi at one point for some reason. I still don't get that one. Like that's I don't even I get he's technically a main character for Tekken, but like you could brought in like Kazuya or something. Like let's be real. Mm. My twisted tea is raspberry flavored. Mm. And then there was also what's his face? God damn, drawing a blank now. Geralt from The Witcher. I haven't even played The Witcher, but I know who Geralt is. I haven't even watched a Netflix show either. I just like know his face. Apparently, he also gets like he gets ladies. Like he is just pulling. I'm like, oh, goddamn. And then there was who else was there? Oh yeah, they bought Ezio on like in Soul Calibur 5 with Assassin's Creed. I want to say it's the Brotherhood version of him. Oh, it's so good too. Especially when he wins, he's like, he'll be like, "Requiescat in pace." He'll be like, "May no one remember your name." And like he just walks off and get the music in the background. It's so good. I don't know. Soul Calibur 5 was like, it's not the worst for me, I would say, because I never played the originals. Like in terms of gameplay, they were okay, but like I didn't like the new characters. I didn't I liked Pyrrha and Patroclus. I thought they were okay. The new Wolf guy, I never really learned his combos, but I thought he had an interesting idea. The guy they filled in for Killick, the little Sun Wukong monkey looking man who just said he always complained about how hungry he was. I didn't like him. Thought he was boring. And then some of the other they got rid of like I want to say they got rid of like Raphael, Cervantes, and replaced them. Then they were like I think they got rid of Cassandra and Sophia. Like they got rid of some characters and tried to swap them out for like a newer, younger group, which I thought was lame. Because they had Killick in the game. The problem with that was they made Killick like the character that has everyone's moves, which I thought was really like stupid. Like, why would you put him in the game if he's not gonna be in the game? And then the one that get and but again, I would argue that one's the worst because I just don't remember any other characters like that, or more so I just didn't care because what they do right after that one, they rebooted it with six, and I liked six, but the thing that bothered me about six was they were hyping up this like, oh, we have this new like soul break system where like all the characters get buffed, they get super strong, and they get powerful, and then we see Killix where he's like, oh, and he like transforms, and like you know his hair's all wild. He has this dark aura around him. His face is all crazy, and he's like, ha ha ha, da, da, da. Like he's crazy. Like he's like he looks insane. And then my mind was like, oh shit, is everyone gonna get like a wild form from this? We're gonna get like instead of Nightmare powering up, we're gonna get like super. What's it called? When Nightmare becomes like a big flame thing, he gets to win Inferno or Super Nightmare, whatever his character's name was when he becomes that. I was like, we're gonna get stuff like that. We're gonna get like ultra like superhero with like Siegfried with like divine armor or something. Like, oh, it's gonna be so quick. And then I played the game, and turns out it's only Killick that gets that actual transformation. The only other person that gets that, I think, is Gwei, and his is only slightly. And I got so goddamn mad because I was like, don't get me wrong, Killick is my favorite character. Why is he the only one that gets a special transformation? Everyone else just gets a little aura around him. I was like, this looks stupid as shit. because it seems unnecessary now. Because like no one looks different. They all look exactly the same. And the one thing that keeps getting me about Soul Calibur is like I played the story mode for the characters. That was fine. That was fun. It was interesting, right? The one they try to do for your custom character, I'm just sitting there like, I don't know, man. It's cool because you get to interact with some of these characters from the story, and you get to run into them. Like you get to see like Ivy, Amy, Raphael, and everything. And it looks neat. You even run into Gero at one point, and Mitsurugi. The problem with that is like even if you pick a good or bad option, it doesn't really amount to nothing because at one point or another you have to fight a Gwei when he becomes crazy, and you have to put him down. And they try to make it look like a sad moment because just like, oh, you're slaying your best friend. It's like, was he my best friend? I mean, I talked to him every now and again, but I've made more interaction with random ass people in the game that I thought were way more interesting than what he was doing. Like he was just kind of there. I was like, I feel like he's not my best. It's like when I played Street Fighter 6 when Bosch died. I'm like, actually, then I like Bosch. I thought he was a nice little addition. Problem was, you don't see him after he disappears for a bit. Then he comes back at the cardboard cutout, like fucking Super Smosh Box Man. He becomes evil. And then, like, when you see him again later on, like, he dies, and it's like, oh no, I was upset a little bit because I was like, oh man, I thought I could save him. But at the same time, I'm also just kind of like, I don't think he was my best friend. Let's be real. I maxed out my bond to some of my teachers at this point. I would argue Lei Finn is more of a friend than he is because I've actually hung out with her in the game, helped her with stuff. We fought together a few times, like, and we consistently train with each other. So it's like, I don't really like the only thing you learn about Bosch is from other people. Like his thing, I don't really give a shit about Kalima. Like I think she's attractive, sure, but I'm also just kind of like, I don't really fuck with her. Especially after I found out she's like, yeah, we're gonna sacrifice bomb him to like try to take out JP, and then JP goes like, hey, so now you're gonna try to murder me? I'm gonna use his sister for this one, so y'all have fun. And then after you fight him, it's kind of just like, oh, I guess we're just done here. It's like, yeah, yeah. Hmm. Ooh, actually, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. I think a really fun collaboration would be like a Spawn Ghost Rider crossover thing. That'd be really interesting. I don't know if they've done that yet. Not, because Spawn is just fun. Like he is really cool, especially when he's voiced by Keith David. Like it's just so good. And that is another thing I like about fighting is like they can really just pull whoever they want now. Like again, because think about Mortal Kombat, right? We started off with 9. Who did we get? We got Freddy Krueger. We got Kratos, and then we went from 9 to X. We got the Predator. We got Alien. Well, Alien Baraka, but still a xenomorph. We got Leatherface. Who else was there? I mean, I'm not gonna count Tanya, Triborg, or Baricha because those are like actual in-game characters, so that's not a big deal. Then 11, we got RoboCop, we got Spawn, we got Rambo. Like, who else? Like, who else could we? We got the Terminator. Who else could we really get now? Because again, like they just showed us the combat pack. They're probably gonna make a second one at some point. It's like, again, I'm saying horror movie people, Chucky, Michael Myers. Like you can even say like, oh, Chucky's gonna be like um Lee Ray Charles or whatever the guy's name was like before he became Chucky, and then he gets Chucky as like an assist or a cameo. That'd be interesting. Or you can get Chucky and Tiffany as like a collaborative fighting pair. Maybe make them a little bit slightly taller so the hitboxes won't be as annoying. Or you can have them like fight with have somebody as a hostage. Oh, just a second, you guys.